it's you talking, you're just having a conversation with me.
I can do that.
It's not. It'd be different if we was in front of multiple people,
Yeah.
But we're just having a conversation about everyday life. Don't worry about it. So,
Cool.
all right,
All right.
ladies, welcome to Street Recovery. I'm your host Crenshaw, and you have both Mrs. Duncans in the house. So here we go. Here we got
Michaela.
Michaela Duncan,
And Wanda Duncan.
Miss Wanda Duncan, the mother of one of our guests, Malik Duncan, the pro ball player for indoor football league. So I don't give a damn what. He made it. He's out of the trenches. He's on another level. That's pro football. So plus he'll be on TV when they go to the playoffs and championships. So
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
yeah. So all right, ladies, let's get to it. The young Miss Duncan.
Yes.
All right. Street recovery.
Street recovery.
You got a story.
I got a story. It's funny you say street recovery because I'm trying to recover these streets. Okay.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yes, your brother was telling me you have a foundation where you help a lot of people.
I do. I have a nonprofit organization called Pearl's House,
Mm-hmm.
and it is dedicated to homeless women and children, homelessness in general.
Yes.
I'm also just dedicated to empowering women within that same foundation. Homelessness is a very touchy topic.
Yes,
and,
it is. A lot of people are homeless more and more these days.
Yeah, and they struggle with mental health and that contributes to it, just having the mental health and the disabilities and being homeless. In addition to that, it's a battle when they don't have enough assistance out here for them. So I'm trying to make a difference.
Let me ask you this: what is the number ratio of homeless women out here?
Oh my God, I don't know that back.
You don't. Is a lot, huh?
It's a ton.
Oh.
It's in Ohio alone. I want to say it was about, oh my God, the percentage rate. When I last checked, it was about 72%.
Of women homeless?
Yeah.
Wow.
Women that was homeless. And that was like 2020, 2021.
Wow.
That was a couple of years ago.
What are the
It's not, it's a lot of women that's homeless with children on top of that.
years ago I worked at a domestic violence center, and it was only for women. The amount of women that I seen in there escaping, and that they were homeless as well, escaping their situations, it was different as a man looking into this, and we talking about back in 99, 2000, where I worked in. It was a different thing to look at and see why and how a lot of women get into these are part of these situations.
Yeah.
As a young man, I couldn't understand a woman with children getting herself into these situations. But as you go on in life, you say, "Oh, it come from dealing with this dumbass guy,
Yeah.
or putting herself in the situations with this guy."
Also, it can come from the lack of support.
And it also starts, too, from the way they was brought up, too.
Yeah.
You can
The
start from the
environment.
beginning of their raising. They seen it from their parents, so they accept it.
So a generational
Yeah,
curse has
that's
been
a lot
handed
of
down.
things that go on
Yeah.
in our lives is because of general curses.
Yeah, generational curses for sure. I really feel like the lack of support is something that's really big, though, because we
True.
don't have a lot of women supporting women. We don't have a lot of people supporting women,
People, correct.
In our culture.
And in our culture in particular, women do not empower. It's not often you see other black women empowering other black
That's
women.
true.
Let's touch on that. Why is that, you think?
because society makes us think that it has to be a competition. And it's not a competition because everybody can win. Everybody, even we can have the same views, we can have the same morals. We might even have the same be able to do the same things, but we don't do them the same. My talent isn't going to be the same type of talent you have. My skill set is not going to be the same type of skill set you have, you know? So ultimately, everybody can win in a different aspect, even if it is under the same umbrella. But society doesn't want it to be that way.
Or it could be also, it's just that, again, that curse because somebody said, oh no, she ain't supposed to win.
Yeah.
You know, or it's just a curse. It's just a curse that we inherited through
Our culture.
our culture.
Speaking of that, our culture, we've went through so much. We start, you know, we start back in slavery.
Of course.
Black women, especially. So many things that you ladies has been through. Comedian Dick Gregory, he once said, the strongest thing in America is the black woman and the black church. These days, black women still strong, black church still strong as well.
Mhm.
One of the things that a lot of guys I see on social media, they're questioning a lot of black women behavior. And it's like, I wonder why are a lot, and it's mostly the younger.
Of course.
It's mostly the younger,
Of course.
under 30. You know, they're questioning black women behavior.
Of course.
And I'm wondering why are they questioning black women behavior?
Because they're looking for a way out. Because they're not looking for their way to get what they need by going out here getting their own.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for a woman. And you know, it's sad because it's again, and I hate to keep on saying this because it's again, it starts home. You know, a lot of our black men, they look at women to
Provide. Make a way.
to make a way for you because they didn't get it at home or somebody didn't raise them or somebody didn't teach them to do these things. So they get with these this younger generation now, and this social media thing is just the worst.
Well,
And
no.
it is to the point.
Social media.
Social media is because again, you just said it. The guys leading on social media to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's what it's coming from. They talking about us, but then they go back home to us for us to cook, feed, and provide for them.
Yeah, you absolutely right. One of the things I wanted to touch on with this social media thing, our youth, not just women,
Mm-hmm.
the boys. It's no, how can I say? It's no creativity, and it's more and more. I'm going to say it, ratchetness from a lot of the guys. A lot of us, we do it because it's an easy money thing. I was listening to one guy, and he was stating how we are coming out of the industrial area, far as making jobs, and we go into creating this content.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what's going on is we're losing ourselves and we're working harder creating this content than we would if we were out here in this working man industry.
Mm-hmm.
We're
see
bouncing around here because a lot of these guys and young female, it's like they're writing their own movie.
Yeah.
And the movie isn't good, and it's not going to end up. People that you come across, young women in the field that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to say this. What do you think about some of the situations they get themselves into, and when they put themselves in these situations and got to come to you for the help?
I honestly, when I look at it, because there's no judgment for me.
Correct.
There's no judgment. It's just
It's life.
it's life, and life, unfortunately, is lifing.
It's day
you know,
life.
life is lifing
You
across the
gotta
board.
think that everything is so expensive, and then you go to pay your light bill. You go. It's a choice now. It's
Yeah.
a choice. Rent.
Do I pay my rent, or do
Yeah.
I pay my lights, gas, and make sure we have our utilities, or make sure
You
we have
got
groceries?
3 to 4 kids in the household. You paying rent 12. You don't opt out. Okay, let's talk about it.
Come on.
Let's
There
talk
she
about
go.
it. You don't got put out of Section 8. You don't got put out of public housing because of some man
Okay.
or some reason. Let's just say some reason. I'm not gonna point no fingers. You don't got put out of public housing, and now you got to put that $1,200 rent by yourself. Most people, they getting some type of Social Security or something, to try to get this rent paid or whatever, whatever they got to get, and they get this rent. They probably staying in one place for about maybe 2 to 3 months, and they know it takes 45 days to be put out of a place, and you got to go through all of these different reasons to put them out. Now you just can't put a person out. It's hard. It's hard. So when we went to do the soup and sandwich day, we're gonna
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
And when
December 2nd.
we talked to a lot of women down there at the shelter, and a lot of women were just saying it just happened. They shut their eyes, and next thing you know, they became homeless. And that do happen, because you think about some days how you gotta think, am I gonna pay this? I'm gonna pay that. It happens. Fortunate, I have always been able to do what I need to do for my children and make sure that we had a roof over our head.
And you had
But don't
support.
think that it wasn't a day where I had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yes. Yes.
So I don't put nothing past another person, because that lady or that man had to figure it out, and they couldn't figure it out, because mental health plays too on a lot of people. Instead of figuring it out, they opt out.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like that lack of support come into play.
Yes.
Because if you have somewhere that's going, okay, I can go here. I don't know. I got this problem. I don't know how to fix it, but I can go to this place, and I know I can tell them what my problem is. Maybe they can help me figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That lack of support in the communities, where I'm not going to judge you. I'm not about to tell. I'm not going to. You go to a place to go get your bills paid, but you have people that work there that lacking customer service skills that make you feel horrible for needing help.
Yeah.
And that should never be the case. I need help. And as a person working in this environment or choosing this field, you should be willing to help me.
Help. Yes. Yes.
You know,
I had
Get
a
out your
guest
bed unless you want to help.
Unless you want to help me.
I had a guest on, Anita Santiago. She's a clinical and mental health specialist, I'm going to say. You said mental health and no support.
No
she
support.
said the same thing.
None.
When a lot of people, especially women, have these mental health issues, there's no support. What the hell is going on where we won't support or assist in this when you know this woman has kids?
Mm-hmm.
She need to get herself together. What the hell is going on with a lot of us in this world where we're not willing to help and support this?
First thing they say is you strong.
Yeah.
As a African or American
And
woman.
that's a touchy one for me.
Yeah. They'll
Because
say, "Oh, you're strong." I have been told that. I'm 58.
Yeah.
I have been told that my whole life. I am a strong woman. I'm not.
I would say this.
I'm gonna say this right now.
She is strong.
I'm not, and I have my weak moments, and I'm strong to the point when it come to my 4 kids.
Yeah.
I'm strong to the point when it come to me having to survive. But I'm not strong because sometimes I get weak in my heart, in my mind, where I feel like I'm failing.
Yeah.
So just think of another woman feeling this way.
What kept you going and what kept you pushing that motivation to keep on succeeding?
Dale, you really don't. Okay. So for a long time, I'm able to talk about it now because I push so many things back
Okay.
to get through life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times we push things as mothers, we push things back to make sure our kids survive. We push things back to make sure life happens.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think about it. We just keep going.
Why don't we talk about it and think about it? See, that's
Because I was told I'm strong.
But I'm gonna say this with the strong thing, like even the strongest person, what I have learned, and I'm gonna say this with the generational curses thing, I have learned how to break few. I haven't broken them all,
mm-hmm.
but just because I was able to watch my mom and watch my grandmother be the strong women, never acknowledge their own feelings, never acknowledge their own hurt and pain. Not once have I ever seen my grandmother cry. And up until recently, I only seen my mother cry. I'm 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I seen my mother cry one time in my entire life. And when I seen her cry, it almost broke me. But it made me understand, like, even the strongest person have weak moments, and that's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in our community, it's okay, you're a strong black woman, you're a strong black woman. And society even looks at it that way. But then also it coincides with that whole angry black woman, because once I do express my feelings, now I'm an angry black woman. You know, I can't, if I do tell you I'm feeling a certain type of way, and because I can say it in a nice but nasty way, you get what I mean? I can tell you, okay, you hurt my feelings, and this is how you hurt my feelings, because I'm going to break it down. I'm going to tell you what you did to hurt my feelings. Now I'm considered an angry black woman because I expressed my hurt or my pain or my dislike or uncomfortability, you know, me being uncomfortable in some type of situation.
But you should be angry from all the hell that black women has been through.
I agree.
From 1600s, 1400s, whatever.
I agree.
All the way up. We was getting ready to get into this. All the hell that black women seen
Yeah.
coming up in the 60s, before you and I,
Mm-hmm.
60s, 70s, and 80s. The drug epidemic in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
We suffered so much.
Tremendously.
And a lot of the women had to sit there and look at this and see all this hell that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black men say, well, I had to do something because when they were offering welfare back in the 60s, the man couldn't be in the house and I had to go and survive.
That's
They
true.
put me
We
in
were
a
just talking
situation.
about
That's
that.
true.
How they took all the men out the house.
Speak on
They
it.
took them out.
Well, let me say this. I was born in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 70s, I lived in King Kennedy.
King Kennedy Housing Projects.
Yes.
Yes.
I was 5 years old when I first moved in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I witnessed so much and I seen so much. And when you talked about the drugs and you talked about the different things and me and not being able to be in the house, I seen where they had the Afro sets.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah. They had them, and I watched it coming out of my house for many days. I remember one time they put syrup in my sister's hair because we have fine hair. So my sister couldn't get an afro, so they put syrup in her hair going to Central because she couldn't get an afro.
Wow.
And I remember her coming home crying. So I seen a lot, you know. And again, we was told, don't cry about it. Get up and go to school the next day and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
These kids these days, they don't get to do that. You know, they just opt out and they don't go to school. We had to go to school.
They see a different life now.
Exactly.
With what we've been through coming up in the 80s, the crack babies having babies, it's a lot harder for them. A lot of people don't understand when you have that chemical imbalance, and now this is a part of you, and the people say, well, what's wrong with them? Well, you don't know what this kid was been through when, you know, at that era. Now that kid has kids, and it's like Well, what the hell is wrong with that family? Hey, chemical imbalance. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't know. We on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is going on. Um, I ask my guests all the time. You ladies being firsthand, living in the projects. How much hell are we into from this drug culture that's been surviving since the '60s in our community?
Man, we're in a lot of hell. I feel like because it still affects us, even though it's not even as big as it was back then. It's and now
It was big then.
it was so
Hmm.
huge, and
It
I
was
wasn't even
big.
there. Like,
Well, I was there
she was,
because
but
walking across 55
Hmm.
during the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
90s.
Hmm.
The 90s wasn't so bad, but the 70s and 80s, it was terrible because it was back then. It was pills.
Pills and
Remember?
heroin.
Yeah, it's pills and heroin. You couldn't walk up and down the street with so many needles and stuff going around. And then going into the 90s, that's when the crack started coming on.
Yeah.
It got bad. Then living that life with living that life with someone
having family members affected
that
by
and
those
and
drugs.
and having to survive with and do with people that actually sold the drugs and people on the drugs, it was a choice.
Yeah.
And they tell now I learn we have choices and we have boundaries. And I'm learning this now in my 50s.
Mhm.
Choices and boundaries. I'm actually learning how to balance that in my life. But then I didn't know that. And so back then you had to survive. It was
Yes.
surviving. And then you seeing people sell the drugs
Hmm.
and they selling it to your family members and you it's gonna go deep. And you dealing with the people that sell the drugs to your family members,
Hmm.
but you really ain't, how could I say, mentally taking it on like you should. Because you're surviving. You
Yeah.
actually just
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 living.
life living. Life just going.
Surviving.
You're not taking a step back to really think about what's happening in front of you, around you, how it's affecting you, how this can affect you long term, how it can affect you short term. And that's something, like I said, for me, just being able to live the life that I live and watching my parents
Hmm.
and my aunts and my grandparents, I learned a lot just from watching.
Hmm.
So for me, I was able to break a few curses. Like I said, not all. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. But just that whole being strong and not expressing my feelings. My mother will tell you, I'm able to do that. I'm able to say, okay, yeah, no, this is too much. That's a lot. I gotta go.
But and back to this, I wanted more for my kids. So
Yeah.
I didn't want that drug life.
Yeah.
So I opted out. And I went and got me a job. And I chose not to be in that life with that, bringing my kids up into that because I wanted something different.
Let
So
me
that's a whole nother podcast.
let me ask you this: a lot of ladies, young ladies, don't know the steps to getting breaking the cycle.
Hmm.
What are the steps that you have took to break the cycle and go through life and
The biggest one for me was being able to isolate. Isolation is key for me. Just so I can regain my mental and my emotional. Forget the physical is important always. Physical is important, but my mental and my emotion. My physical is nothing without my mental and my emotion. My emotional and mental isn't so important. I remember being a kid and my father just telling me, if your mental is gone, something I learned from him and I will take away. He never did drugs, never smoked, never drank, right? Because of the things he's seen around him and how it affected the people he's seen around him. So I always kept that with me. And for me, it was like my mental is important. If I do drugs, if I get into become a person that's addicted, if I become an addict, these things will deter my mental, right? Knock my mental down. I can't have that because then I will be knocked down as a person. And it's too much that I want to accomplish for my family and myself. So what I did was I isolated myself. I took a step back. I was able to look back at different situations and things and people and see if they were truly for me and if they weren't, based off the interactions, because people will show you who they are.
Yes, without a doubt.
Actions speak louder than words to me. So that was the first step for me, taking a step back, isolating, gathering my thoughts, reevaluating everything around me. And from there, I just kind of took it one day at a time because, you know, I had, at that point, I'm setting boundaries. Once I realized what's been happening around me, I'm setting my boundaries and I'm sticking to them. And it's hard, but I do it every day because, like I said, it's what I want. It has made me better in a lot of ways. A lot of stuff I don't want to deal with, I don't have to deal with.
Right.
And another thing is people don't want to go and get counseling.
And
I don't know
in
why,
our community,
in our
especially.
Let's
in our
touch on
culture,
that.
yeah.
In
And
our-
I don't know why we say, "Oh, that means you crazy." That mean no. I've been getting counseling a long time, and I love every time I speak to my counselor.
You know, you're the second person I spoke with that said that. A lot of us, and especially black males, we don't go and do that. We don't speak to anyone.
Yeah.
We sit here and we keep this stuff inside of us for years, and sometimes a lot of black
And
males
it's really
explode.
hard for you. Like black men, it's so hard for you guys, like on an emotional level, because you do have to keep a lot of stuff in. You know, you guys aren't able to really express. And that's something that's something that is, I can understand that. That's something that's so hard for you guys.
But then-
you guys should totally be able to express your emotions without having
That's
the backlash.
Again, when you go and you speak with these counselors and you don't like that counselor, you don't feel that counselor giving you, get another one.
Get a new one.
You know how many counselors I've been through? And I thought one time, I really thought that if I got an African American woman that was middle aged, that she can really understand me. That lady was not for me, and that was it was so quick for me to tell her I no longer need your services.
She didn't know she didn't experience what you experienced.
It wasn't that she just.
Or-
It wasn't. Let's talk about customer service again and giving people what it is. It was that she was just doing her job and just wasn't there what I needed her to be with giving me what I need. Now, you know, I don't been through a lot. I think I started counseling maybe in the 90s with their dad. It was because of something with their dad. I'm gonna be honest. It was with their dad. I was kind of like going through something because, you know, that was my first boyfriend.
Yes.
And I lost it, you know, with the things he was doing. So, but I decided I wanted to get counseling. I got counseling.
Yes.
And I'm not scared to talk about it.
A lot of us.
Once I did it, I never stopped going. And it kept me going. I might have stepped back a couple of times, but I always got back into it because I know I need that. Remember when I talked about putting things in the back?
Yeah.
That's why I go and drop it.
Why don't we come to these terms and say, maybe I need to go and speak to someone?
Scared.
What is it?
Scared.
Fear
Scared.
of
And then
being
What
judged.
people telling you, because they think they're going to give you medicine. I do not take damn medicine.
You can
of me
decline
just going in there
anything.
talking.
Yep.
I just go in there and talk. I spend 2 hours. I do 45 minutes now, but I do 45 minutes of just telling what I want to talk about. I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I talk about my job. I talk about my kids. I talk about my mom. I talk about when my mom been deceased for now a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 2000.
I talk about a lot of people. I talk about things that happened in my childhood, things I seen. The first thing I seen as a kid when I was 13 that hurted me. I talked about that. I talk about a lot.
This is how we get to that next level of recovering, you know, just talking about it.
Of course.
You know, a lot of us, we don't. And a lot of us, I could say, we don't know how to deal with some of the things that we've seen. We keep it in us. We don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
We don't, you know, that strong thing that applies to you when they say to you, you got to be strong. It also applies to us black males. I'm going to say males, period. But it's something that that's a cycle I I really need to speak more about, that we need to break.
Yes,
You know,
I
mean,
agree.
We need to break that cycle.
For sure.
Everybody needs somebody to talk to.
They do.
Yeah, because
And like I said, I
sometimes
think
talking
it's
to your
more,
family and
it's not it's
friends, it's not the
it's going to be
same.
biased. It's going to be some judgment. It's going to be some
They gonna
you
tell
it's
it.
okay. Oh, it's they're going to downplay it. But like I said, if you go see a therapist, they're
It's
they're not going to minimize your
gonna
feelings,
sit
your
right
thoughts,
there.
or your opinions at all. They are going to acknowledge everything that you're saying, and they're going to
Give
help you break
homework.
it down to the best of your ability, to where you truly understand your feelings, why you feel, how you ended up feeling, what caused those feelings, and how you can fix them.
Yes, you get a journal, you start writing things down, you start looking at those things, you writing those things down, your homework becomes,
Analyzing yourself,
yes.
your life,
And then you be like,
and it
wait,
goes
I did,
into
wait, that happened?
making
No.
yourself a priority. That is the biggest thing I got from therapy,
Yeah.
because now that I'm able to focus wholeheartedly on my boundaries, my thoughts, my feelings, I have truly started putting myself first. Because especially in our community, and I'm gonna say not so much of our community, but for me, I grew up in a household. My mom is one of 10. My dad is one of 10. You know, all I know is family. And we're always there for each other. Now, the whole being strong thing, yeah, we don't acknowledge feelings too much. But being there, oh, if you need something, we're here. You lacking somewhere, let me come over. Oh, something happened, we're showing up. There's no, whether we're talking, not talking.
Family is everything.
Family is everything to
Yes,
us.
yes.
And that can take a toll on a person. You know, when you drop you that's all you know. I'm dropping, I'm running. I'm dropping, I'm running to my family.
Let me ask you that. Family is everything.
Of course.
Dealing with a lot of things that you've seen coming up, Mrs. Duncan, in the 80s. You had, what, a couple kids then?
Yeah, I did.
Too.
I took.
What was it that, what was the thing that made you go, let me get the hell away from this madness down here, the shit that was going on, excuse my words, the things that were going on down where you grew up. What was the thing that made you say, I got to get my kids away from this?
Hold up now. First of all, I stayed in King Kennedy for 34 years.
Well,
and it was never get away from there because we lived there till my kids became
I was
practically
12.
teenagers.
Yeah, I was 12 years old when we moved out the project.
So, but I always encouraged my kids to be who they were, and I let my kids enjoy life. I let them play football. I let them play basketball. I let them, Michaela, go try and be an entrepreneur in different kind of programs, do everything they need to do. And I worked at CMHA then. Yeah, I was working at CMHA. And so I was involved. But every weekend we wasn't there.
No.
Every weekend I found something
For us to do.
And like she said, family was important because my family, we always had something going on. Or I would get a hotel room and just take my kids to the hotel and let them swim. And let them just get away so they can know something different or taking them different places.
that's what I wanted to touch on. Showing your kids there's something different.
She did it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they don't do that.
Yeah.
They keep the kids in a certain environment where the kid don't get to see outside of the community.
Yeah.
There are some kids coming up that never been outside the city. For example, a lot of the kids throughout the program we know of, they've never been outside the city. So once they leave high school and they go to another state or something,
They can't. They come right back home.
Why is that?
So let me explain that. You know what's so crazy that you say that? My oldest son, Michael Duncan, he believed in this. He got his master's degree in special education. He graduated. He went to Tri-C.
Yes.
He believed everybody should do 2 years
At
community college before they go for a year.
Yes.
So you can know what it's going to be like when you go to that 4 year. He endured this into each one of my kids.
He did.
Yes.
Before y'all go anywhere y'all need to do, a 2-year college, before y'all go to a 4-year. But Malik went and jumped into a 4-year. And he
Okay.
did do successful. He got his bachelor's. So, but my son tells us all, to every kid, that you need to go to a community college before you go jump up and go to a 4-year college.
To prepare
But
yourself.
to prepare yourself. But because a lot of people haven't seen a lot of things and haven't went away. Because I sent him away to Arizona and he was there by himself to a college. So he had a full scholarship. And it was something different. But I made him do that whole 2 years. He tried to come home. I said, nope. You gonna do it, and you gonna stay there,
Yeah.
and this is when you finna learn what it is to do and finish something. He tried his best to come home, and he would come home for little breaks. You going back, because this is something you committed to. But again, back to what you asked, I don't know why, because the community used to offer places and take kids, but okay, so that's going
Yes.
into what you're saying. When we
The
was young,
community.
my mother took us to this church called St. Philip's Church on 30th in Central.
Okay.
And they used to take us on Saturday to, we did everything. Horseback riding. What is that when you shoot the born arrow?
Yeah.
And we did all kinds of things that I never would have done in my life. So, but my mother used to cook there too and give out food. So my mother would cook on Saturday, and people laugh because I always say, Mama, on Saturday our favorite meal was a tuna fish sandwich and chili. They're like, that don't go together, but that was our meal.
That's right. You eating.
So, but that's how we learned how to go places and stuff, because that's where it started at St. Philip's Church.
Within the community.
His name was Hank Majors. He took us everywhere, and we had this one van, and he would pile us up, and he'd take this load of kids, but he'd take us. And I was like, I'm gonna do my kids just like that, But then the Boys and Girls Center, my kids wanted to be there and stuff. They didn't do that type of stuff. They didn't do things. So when I worked at CMHA, I was working for Rio, and then we came up with this thing where we wanted to do things with kids, where we wanted to start like entrepreneurship, showing them how to do different things and how to get money to try to do things for themselves, to empower them.
Yeah.
I was 9 years old, and I started my first business doing that program.
She did.
They
don't do this no more. They don't do none of this.
This is what's missing.
Yeah.
It is.
This is what's missing.
This is what's missing. You're right.
And even then, I can remember it wasn't a lot of kids in my
She
community
earned her
that
own money.
that was there. Like in my community, it was not a lot of kids in the program. My mother worked there, and my mother was like, "Okay, it's this program," and I went. I was
went
that
to
kid that
every
read
project.
books.
I had to go. Oh, remember?
But I would go.
Valley View. I had to go down in Valley View when it was.
She had to go try to get kids to come to the program,
to the
because
program
no
and
one
everything.
in King Kennedy sent their kids
So I
to
would
that
go
program.
get kids from all the different projects, and bring them over, and we would teach them how to do this entrepreneurship and let them start their own business of what they wanted to do. She wanted to do bracelets. Michaela wanted to do bracelets, and she wanted to quit. Michaela wanted to quit, and I didn't let her quit
me.
because I said, "You started this business, you're gonna keep going with it."
Why is it you think a lot of parents didn't send their kids to this program?
I think
that
they
could
didn't
make
know.
something?
It wasn't that they didn't know, because we put out flyers, because that's what I did. I was an outreach worker.
No, I mean, not so much of not knowing, but not knowing the true benefit of the program. Like, maybe they just looked at it like,
We had a good.
like,
we had a good,
people look at fly. I just feel like people aren't as aware as they should be. Like, I don't know. I'm a reader, and I thrive on understanding. Like, I will not move if I don't understand something.
Yes.
And I can see a flyer that might say, "Oh, we are offering free classes for painting." And I'm like, okay, I might want to learn how to paint. I'm going to read it thoroughly. I'm going to be interested. If I'm interested, I'm going to do it. People don't look at stuff like that.
But it's funny you say that. CMHA used to do stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is no lie. I started off making my kids laugh. $4.50 or maybe, yeah. And CMHA, Frank Jackson, he started off. They had these little programs where they would pay us to learn these little trades.
Yes.
They don't do stuff like that no more.
Mm-mm.
A lot of budget cuts.
And then
a lot
but if they
all
stop,
kind of-
You know what else we
You don't
learned
wanna
how to
be-
do? I learned how to play golf.
Oh yeah.
Me and Marquise started off and he's left-handed. And I used to practice. I used to steal his left-hand gloves and try to play, right? And I used to try to do everything that he
You
did.
stealing your brother gloves?
Stealing them. And I'm right-handed here. Now, Matt, figure this out. And it was so cool. The program was so dope. It was such a dope program. And I'm so upset that they don't have it anymore. But, again, it gave us so much exposure. Like, we're
so
black
much
kids in the
out, getting
projects.
away.
We never knew nothing. We didn't. Tiger Woods, yeah. But us playing it, never, right?
And Marquise was good.
Marquise
at it.
was
They
the
loved
bomb,
him.
okay? And they actually gave them golf clubs once they finished the program.
Golf shoes, golf clubs.
They would give
and
you
everything.
all your equipment once you got to a certain point. And I remember him finishing his first year of the program, and he played with his left. And I used to steal his gloves, and I'd be trying to play. And he would get upset with me, right? And my mother was like, well, you know what? Forget it. I'll just put you in there. And I went the next year, and I'm playing golf. And it was the hardest thing in the world. I thought it was going to be easy. It was so hard. But I learned so much from it. And that's what we need in our communities.
Yeah.
Those type of programs, and we don't have them.
Budget, because like you said, no money.
Well-
the funding. they're not
And
putting-
people that genuinely want to give back to the community. It's like, it's about money for everyone, but it's like, for me, I genuinely want to help a person know.
And we don't
Yeah.
have
They
no
don't
money,
know.
but we took out our time and we made 200 sandwiches.
Soups
I
and
made
sandwiches. My
two
mother,
different kinds of
homemade
soups.
soups. For my event, December 2nd. She made homemade, 2 different kinds of homemade soup. And we passed out 200 soups and sandwiches to homeless people. And actually, January the 27th, I'm going to be passing out coats and blankets to the homeless downtown, because there's so many homeless people living in tents.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's
That's what makes
Living in
that's
tents.
what,
And it hurts my heart.
that's what gets us. That's
So we're
what every
passing out
time
coats
we're
and
gonna do
blankets.
Coats and blankets.
January 27th.
well, we'll
Yeah.
put everything up for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I lived in Arizona for about 10 years, southern Arizona. I left here at Cleveland. So the homeless that I know of is sleeping on top of the heaters downtown, the sewer heaters. One here, one there. I got a real look at what a homeless camp is all about. A park full. A park full. And I'm starting to see that now down there.
Downtown.
And it's like, what the hell?
If you go to, we were on 22nd, so we walked down to
They gotta
17th in
move.
Payne. They have to move. They just told them people they have to move. And they're living in their tents.
Yes.
And it's small camps of tents. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see this city continuously try to build itself up, and you have these people living in tents.
Now we went to 2100 too.
We went to 2100 as well.
That's the
The men's
man.
shelter.
And we also gave soup and sandwiches out there too.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys is just like what's the word I want to use? They're so independent. They're just so cocky. It was just like,
Yeah.
okay.
You would never know that
They were okay with where they're at.
They were okay. They were content.
Why is that, you think?
Maybe
The mental illness.
the mental illness.
It's nothing but mental illness.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's like it was no desire to want more. So, in a sense, and that's understandable when you have something, when you're battling with things mentally that won't allow you to think about the bigger picture.
It's the mental.
It's the mental illness.
And then like you said, let's go back to the 80s, when I remember back in the 80s and 70s when they had these mental illness places where people would go and get help.
Shock therapy. They wasn't
Yeah.
getting real help. They were getting shock therapy.
Well, they would still have facilities where they can
Go to.
They
Okay.
don't have that anymore.
No, they
They on
don't.
the streets.
They
And
are.
it's not safe for you and I.
Yeah.
And it's not safe for them either.
It's not.
Because a person will, now we able to do things we can. You see a mental health person walking up to you and they talking up in your, because they was up in our face
Yeah.
like this.
And
And,
they
they,
were-
and just, they
and they
weren't
were-
meaning no harm.
No.
Yeah.
They was just talking. And the girl.
But it was one girl that was actually having a rant. She was going off. I mean, something
and
crazy.
up and just doing
walking.
it.
She was this close to us, but she was kept walking
back and forth.
going back and forth, pacing.
If a person feeling some type of way, you gonna protect yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
As you should. Yeah.
yeah, but then it ain't their fault. It's
not.
the mental health,
It's the
and that's all I kept telling them. You know, the people that was working with, I was like, block it out. Because the
All the
one lady, she
volunteers.
did say, she came up to me and she was like, she called some of the young ladies with us bees, and I was like, hey, that's uncalled for. We gonna do what we can. All because somebody wouldn't give her no hand sanitizer. And I was just like, okay, but it's not. And I was like, here go the hand sanitizer. You can have it.
Yeah.
You know, but, and it's just a mental thing. And I just think that they need to take more time out instead of building all of these different
Jails.
places up and these different complexes and stuff. Build somewhere to put to help these people.
The mental illness.
No
Give them
one,
counseling.
no one in the country is doing this.
No.
But what I did hear, I don't know if it's true or not, in Austin, they were going to build a tiny house community for the homeless.
I seen that.
I seen something.
I'm not sure
seen that.
I seen
where
that.
that was, but even if they do that, that's something.
That's something.
And require them to get some counseling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if I ever came across some money, I promise you, I will do it.
Yeah.
I will build
And I feel like it's something
Get
so
one of these
simple.
old schools.
It's so simple as to say, okay, listen, boom, we're going to build a transitional facility
Yeah.
where you guys are going to be here for X amount of time. You have programs to complete, different type of things to go
you got to
through.
get this counseling.
You got to get this counseling. You got to get this. You got to get these treatments
gotta take
in
your
order
medicine.
to be eligible for the bigger picture.
It's also a way to generate dollars for the counselors.
Yes, it is.
You got to take this
Because now you're
medicine.
creating these jobs for more people. Because I mean, it's just gonna. It's a bigger. It can help everyone. Ultimately, when you narrow down on this homelessness problem and the people with the mental illnesses, if we truly did come together as a community, everyone would benefit from it. Not just the people that are homeless and mentally
Let's
ill.
get to it. Why don't you think they don't want to do this or they don't want to listen?
Because they make more money, keep giving them pump.
Yeah.
Look, this was that.
It's about the money.
The money, the medicine. I didn't know this, that the more medicine the doctors give you, the more they
The pharmaceutical companies.
get paid off of us.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yes.
Yes. So that they keep on prescribing these different drugs to them, and they're not taking it.
No.
Because if they did, they probably get balanced and can take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking that. They need to take their medicine. They need to get on track because that's all it is. It's just
And
a
they just
chemical
need help.
What did you say?
The
A chemical
chemical
imbalance.
Balance.
And that goes into the lack of support because I feel like no one is supporting these people genuinely. You get what I mean? When we were down there passing out the soups and sandwiches, and I went into the facility to donate blankets to some of the people in the facility. Just watching some of the people working there with the people and how they were talking to them, even though I'm sure, you probably are tired. You probably are, overwhelmed, and that's understandable. But again, you are in a service environment.
Yeah, if
you should be giving service, man.
Don't be
I'm going to treat you
rude.
the way I would want someone to treat my family member.
Yes.
And that's a big thing for me because a part of the reason why I started Pearl's House is because I have family members that suffer from drug addiction, mental illnesses, homelessness, all of that before. Mm-hmm. And my family came together to support, even when those individuals did not and do not want the support. You know what I mean? We still come together. We still try. But
And you get tired.
you get tired, but
you don't give up.
the support does not stop. You do not give up. Not when you genuinely care.
A lot of organizations like yours, you guys are starting at the ground level.
Yes.
There's a guy that Ray Smith. He spoke at your brother's school. Mm-hmm. Him and a lot of the guys over there off 105, they're putting this together where all these brands come together and they're doing all they can to help the community over there, the kids. I just seen the other day, he's opening a coding center for kids. Mm-hmm. Another guy, Mr. M.D. Lewis. He's doing teaching entrepreneurship for kids, teaching them how to make cups and shirts and all these kind of things in Corey Recreation Center. Amazing things.
Yes.
These guys are coming together
That's
doing
good.
it.
That's amazing.
That's
You know.
good.
And that's what we need. More of that, you know?
But you guys are doing it out the ground. All of you guys are doing it at the ground level with, I'm going to say it, limited support.
Yes.
And you making it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, that's saying something. That's saying something.
Well, I have always taught my kids, even at Christmas time, that they had to give back. They couldn't just settle for just getting Christmas presents. They had to.
Yeah.
We had to adopt a family.
Every year.
Where did that come from?
Her mother.
Yeah, my mother.
Passing down generational blessings.
And that's why, and my grandmother would, she had 10 kids of her own and would take it. She would cook for everybody in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could come to her
They're
house.
they're still talking about it now.
Yes.
But
Anyone can come to her house and sit at her table.
Isn't that something? No.
Anyone can have a meal at her table.
But yeah, so that's what I had always told my. We have to adopt.
So we
a
adopt,
family.
and still to this day, we adopt a
We
family
adopt a
every
family
year.
every year.
As a family, we adopt a
And
family.
we take care of that family.
That's rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Speaking of the family, you said your mom let everybody come to her table and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Just a block over from King Kennedy is Beaver Street, where I grew up. My father, his mom,
My auntie stayed.
My
down there.
auntie.
his mom. Well, I'm pretty sure they know each other. Well, my father may know, but my grandmother did the same thing. Come on over, eat. When you have a community like that, everybody tends to know your family and how good your family is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody tends to respect your family. These days, people won't let nobody come in their house.
That's true.
That is true.
That is true.
These days, there's a lot of disrespect and everything else goes on.
It is.
So when we lose those values from a community standpoint, just letting a person down, come on over and eat. It begins to be a simple life as it once was.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop doing those things, it seems like everything just went to hell. We stopped being neighborly to each other.
That's true. Because you don't even know your neighbors.
No.
Honestly, I mean, how many people can say, I know my neighbor. I know who my neighbor is. I know what my neighbor name is or something like that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know where we go from this as a community. I focus on us, our black community first.
Yeah.
But this is happening all over
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's not
Don't matter
just-
what race you are.
Right.
But I can say I do see the Mexican community. I never seen this before until I went to Arizona. They live 10 people in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Those 10 people go to work. Whoever at home take care of the house. They save up money, buy the house next door. From there, buy the other house next door.
Mm-hmm.
I never seen anything like it. But at the same time, they have problems like we have problems. A lot of the problems stems from the drugs. So a lot of our problems are a lot deeper than drugs.
Of
So
course.
I don't know where we go from it, but I can say this: you ladies are doing a hell of a job over there.
Thank
I
you.
didn't know as much as I knew with on the grassroots level, feeding people that. Hey man,
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna come down there and get me a soup and sandwich. The hell.
Anytime.
Ms. Duncan, let us know more about your nonprofit Pearl's House.
Man, Pearl's House. Pearl's House is my baby. Like you said, I'm starting from the bottom. I have never really done outreach. I've always witnessed my mother do it.
Okay.
So that's why it's near and dear to me because it's also a learning experience. I have done volunteer work. It's not, I've done that, but it's so much more when it's yours. When you are getting out here doing something on your own. So the outreach work that I'm doing now, it still means a lot to me, but I feel like it's so much more impactful because I'm coming and I'm coming hard. I have a lot of plans for Pearl's House where we are just really trying to empower the community as well as the women in the community that are homeless and suffer from, like I said, mental illnesses or any type of disability rather. And I will assist them with job readiness and preparation by helping them with their resumes and providing them with, just job search assistance, education support services, mentoring, life skills training, you name it. If I can help you, I will.
It's what's needed and it's what's missing. A lot of the programs really aren't focused on. I'm gonna say women.
Yeah, of course.
There's you have some out, but it's just, I'm gonna say it's a small. You
Yeah.
know, especially women of color.
Yes.
But I do have to say, these families have to push their kids into these programs.
They do.
'Cause you don't know what can come out of it. You don't know what.
My mom pushed me into them, and I feel like they did nothing but make me better.
They're supposed to.
The exposure was phenomenal. I feel like it's something everyone should have experienced or should experience in life. As a child and even just a teenager growing up, I did Latin club. I did I did a lot of different things. And my mom, science camps. My mom always pushed me to do whatever I put my mind to. And I have a very vivid imagination. So, yes.
Mom, you 4 successful boys.
No, 3 boys, 1 girl.
3,
Yes.
excuse me. 3 boys, 1 girl. I'm sorry. 3 successful boys. How did you do it?
Oh,
3 successful boys, 1 successful girl. How'd you do it?
a lot of fussing.
A lot of fussing.
A lot of fussing, a lot of talking. See, I always tell my kids, I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm so honest about everything. I tell them the truth. I don't hold back on anything. When they ask questions, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to break it down to them the best way I can in a way that they can understand.
She has no filter.
I have no filter.
And I'll just say this, she's brutally honest. If I'm getting you ready for the world was a person, it would be her. Because she taught me how to have tough skin. No one or nothing outside can say anything that'll hurt my feelings. That'll make me feel like I can't be me. Because she prepared me for that. By talking to me and instilling certain morals and values in me and making me feel like, listen, you're going to be strong. You can do this. Do it.
How hard was it with the 3 boys to keep them on that right path?
One thing about my boys I can say, my boys love sports. So if I wanted anything, I can punish them. Say, oh, you ain't, no, that's a no, or that game. And my kids, they love sports so much and they wanted to enjoy life and be outside with their friends. And, so that was just, no, you're not going outside today or doing, and it never came to that point where I had to punish them because my kids knew that I was serious about what I wanted. It was school. That's something that my mother told me that I had to do, and it's something they had to do. Education was big. My mother had, 7 of us living. It was 10 of us, but 7 of us living. And each one of us got a diploma. So my mother didn't play that. My mother didn't, you had to get your education. So my kids, you got to get some education. And I told them, you don't have to go to college, but you got to get a trade. Right. So my first, which is Day, which is Michael Duncan, he wanted to go to college. So I was like, you sure? He was like, yeah. So that's when I was telling about how he went to college and then he went, no, you're not coming home. You're going to do this. So he did.
How did it feel
to tell him
He
that he
got-
want to come home?
Well, with that too. Let's go with that. That too.
It you know, at points it was like, because they know I'm hard
Yeah.
and they know that I don't play, and they know I take a no for an answer. No, it's no. When I say no, I mean no. So he would be like, and I'm like, well, he say, well, I ain't got no money. I'm gonna send you some money.
Mm-hmm.
So and like you said, I lived in the projects then, and he like, how you gonna get? Don't worry about how I'm gonna get some money. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
you
this
gonna
money.
get it.
I'm gonna get you some money. I sent him money. I sent him food. We sent him boxes of food. We sent him money, whatever he needed. But he wasn't coming home. That man was not gonna come home. And when he came home, he was a man.
He was.
How did it
He
feel?
was no longer somebody's boy. He was a man.
How did it feel when
It made
he
me
walked
feel
that
good
stage?
when he walked that stage. Well, I wasn't able to go to that graduation
Well, when you-
because he didn't want to go to the graduation in Arizona because that was only a 2-year college. But when I went to when he went to his 4-year college, which was Sal's, it was in North Carolina.
Yes.
It was an all black college. And when I went to see him come across that stage, and it was wonderful because you know what, Fantasia was there too. And I
So you got
spotted
a bonus.
yeah, I spotted. I said, that's Fantasia. But anyway, it was a hot, hot day. I'll never forget. And to see my baby come across there, I was just like full of joy. You know, my firstborn come across, got his little bachelor's degree in sociology. Because that's something he wanted. Because that's what his dad wanted, was to go to college and get his degree in sociology. So he wanted to do it. So he did it. And it was a great feeling. You know, we came back, we drove him back home, and it was nice. And then he went right into teaching.
You succeeded in life
Yes, I
as a
succeeded
parent.
as a parent. And I'm not gonna take all the joy for that. A friend of mine, Serena, she took him under her wing. She got him into school as a teacher, and he's been teaching special education since, and he got his master's in special education.
Now that is what's needed.
Yeah,
And that,
another friend from the projects took him up under her wing, and she was she was a principal, I think, then, and Cleveland Municipal School, and she got him in, and she was like, "This my child." I was like, "Okay." She said, "Let me have him. Let me take care of him," and ever since then, that's his second mom.
And that's the beauty of having these relationships with people that are doing good in life.
Yep.
You never know who can do something for you. It don't have to be financially. You know, if you can get my son, you take him up under your wing, you know, great.
She did.
But that says something about you as well
Yep.
to this person where, you know.
She did. She took him up under her wing, and then Marquise, he graduated from. The story behind Marquise was, Marquise came a long way because Marquise couldn't read. Believe it or not,
Struggled with
in third,
comprehension.
he struggled with comprehension in the 3rd grade. I held him back, and I went to the school and I raised all kind of sand because y'all let my son go, and he would have kept going until I realized he couldn't read. So I ended up getting this teacher, and she helped me, and she really worked with me for him to read, and she stayed with him every night till I got off work at 5:00, and I picked him up at 5, and she got him to read. His goal was to not be in IEP or special education, so I sent him to Central Catholic.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I would have never noticed that. I coached him with my dad, and he was a hell of an athlete.
And this is another
would've
thing you
never
wouldn't
known
know.
that.
He stuttered real bad. When he would call my name, he would be like, you never knew that, did you?
No,
He stuttered.
no.
He couldn't even talk.
Turned out to be a hell of an athlete,
Because
and he's a hell
I
of a
put
dude.
him in speech, and I did everything I could to get him where he needed to be. And this lady, like I said, she kept him every day at 5:00. She ended up passing this teacher. I cannot think her name. But and I would pick him up after I got off work. And then she said, "What do he like to do?" I said, "He loves sports." She like, "Can you can you afford to get the Sports Illustrator? I'm like, I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah.
I bought the Sports Illustrator. He started reading that book every day. Every day.
Start dreaming and start imagining things. It's something when a kid picks up literature and start to see and envision himself. Like I say, when I coached him, I mean, pure athlete.
Didn't nobody know this. And then, he went to Central Catholic, and his goal was to come out of Central Catholic with a 3.5. He came out with a 3.7.
Hey,
And I was,
what
and
can you say?
that's another one. I was just like, yes, I did it. I'm so proud of him. He did it. I would say he did it, not me. He did it because that was his goal. And that's the crazy part. This is no lie. Each one of my kids set a dream and a goal when they were like 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go. And each one of them did it.
This is a true story of how to parent.
Mm-hmm.
How to be a successful parent.
Thank you.
She poured a lot into us.
Well, she's supposed to.
No, for sure.
A lot of parents,
They don't.
they don't.
And I'm going to say this. When I got it, I thought everybody parent was like my parents, right?
Oh, yeah. She got mad
Let me
one
tell you
day because her friend, she said, my friends, we got into it real bad. She was like, my friends is they mother friend. You ain't my friend. I said, no, I'm not your friend. I'm your mother.
And I had to been about
She kept
9
saying,
or
why
10.
you not my friend? I'm like,
I was
I'm
like
not
9
your
or
friend.
10.
I'm your mother. And she like, but they friends with their mother. I said, we not friends, little girl. And to this day, she say, nah, I understand why you want my friend. Now we friends.
Now we the best. Listen, she is my best friend now.
Now we friends.
Best friend in the world.
But I had to be a mother first.
But it was so crazy because I really thought that everybody parent was like my parent. And then I got out in the world. I'm like, hold up. Oh, man, they not. It's really not. It's not. My mother gave up a lot to give us, to make sure. I from guitar lessons, piano lessons, I did all of that. From the second grade, I started piano. I did guitar. I did dance lessons. I did a bunch of stuff that I probably would have never done if I was anywhere else, know. Mm-hmm. She made it happen. For everything I wanted to do,
and
she made sure.
And go was their dad's house. When I wouldn't do something, they dad.
I got a good. You know what? I can tell you a story. I will tell you a story that I don't really tell people. But my dad kidnapped us one time.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom made us mad or something. And my brother said, call Dad. And we called him. And my dad picked us up and snuck us out our bedroom window. And she came outside like, give me my kids back. And he was like, nope, I'm taking them for the weekend. You'll see them. You'll see them. You'll see
tell
them.
the truth now. And then I said, you can have
She
all
said, you
three
can
of
have
them,
all the 3 of them. But give me my
Malik.
baby back. She wanted the baby. She didn't even want
Give me
the
Malik.
3. She wanted Malik
And
back.
he couldn't take Malik, but he could take them.
But he took us all.
But that's how all moms are with their babies.
He took us all. She couldn't have nobody. He said no. He took us all.
There it is. That's successful parenting.
She did her thing.
It was a lot. And I just thank God more than anything and my mother, because I did have a good support. My mother and my sisters, they always had my back. But the most thing for the higher power will always have us. God took care of me. He always blessed me. My mother always say, where you sit, where you stand, where you look, where you touch, you always ask God for that blessing. Mm-hmm. And to hold your hand.
That's special right there.
Yes, it is.
All right, ladies, social media, and you want to let everybody know what you got coming up?
If anyone that needs assistance with resumes or even just financial literacy workshops, mentoring, life skills training, I'm here to assist anyone that's in need, even point you in a direction if you need assistance with utilities or just housing or being able to find resources that you can't find on your own. I will be able to assist you find those resources. You can find Pearl's House on Instagram at We Are Pearl's House. We have a website, wearepearlshouse.org. And, just come see us. Oh, yeah, and we're giving out coats. We're giving out coats January 27th. Coats and blankets to the homeless downtown. I'll be walking around giving them out to them. So, Yeah.
Get me a coat.
Yeah.
So-
Anyone needs a coat, they can DM us. Let us know. I'll
Mom,
hold it.
anything you got?
No, I'm just blessed. I'm great. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm thankful to be able to assist my daughter in this and help her in her journey. And just hope everything works out for my kids and my family and everybody. That's all.
Well, ladies, thank you for coming to street recovery. Coming on street recovery. Coming out here to see me.
Of course.
This
Thank you
is
for having us.
going to be great right here.
It is.
Yeah, this is going to be great. So, hey, I'm your host, Crenshaw. This has been Street Recovery. We out of here.
Thank you.
That was a lot.
That was good.